Larry tried to kill me.
Yeah. I was so thoroughly disgusted.
I mean, think about it. Why does it make you special to do what you want?
Packers jumping around. They rush 4. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elway can run inside the 10. Head first. He dives off the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing 4, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
There's also Brian Clady and Bob Miller. Third and long 3. Going deep. Oh, and he's got Thomas. Goodbye. Touchdown.
Here we go. First snap of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him. Green to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
And welcome to the show. My name is Mundungus Creevy, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host Glenn, Cam, and Mr. Boggins. And you are currently tuned into the 5280 podcast on the MHRT network. We are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast filling you in on all things Denver Broncos. Now, I am not the one you've been waiting for, and neither are the other 3. He played defensive end for the Denver Broncos from 2012 to 2019 after being drafted with the 36th pick in the 2012 draft by the Denver Broncos. He was a key figure on a historic defense in the 2015 Super Bowl victory, and in my opinion, one of the top 5 Denver Broncos defensive ends of all time. In 2022, he signed a 1-day contract so he can retire a Denver Bronco. He's going to be releasing a book soon, as well as a hunting and outdoor show called Wolf Untamed, and is currently building a podcast studio in his basement so that he can start his own show. Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Wolfe.
Let's go. Let's go.
How are we doing?
What's up, fellas?
Not a whole lot.
Hey, that entrance was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm not even talking about my entrance. I'm talking about the intro to the show.
Oh.
Like the editing.
Credit the Wizard for that.
Was great.
I like how Boggins is like, thanks.
That's great. Wizard does responsible for that one.
Obviously, the first question always comes from me, and it's kind of an important question. I got it from Twitter yesterday. Pizza. Do you put pineapple on pizza?
I don't.
Good. Good.
See,
No,
I was so excited that now that me and Derek Wolfe are going to get along, and now you had to bring that question in and then just ruin it for me because
listen, if there's pineapple on a pizza, I'll eat it. But if there's a pepperoni pizza and then a pizza next to it with ham and pineapple, I'm taking the pepperoni.
Well, that's okay. Well, that's different though.
So, Derek,
I'm not going to order a pizza and put pineapple on it.
Oh, okay. I will. 100%. 100%.
See,
you cannot hunt for pineapple.
I feel like you put pineapple on shit pizza. Like if it's not good pizza, then you put pineapple on it.
How dare
like if you order Papa John's or like Domino's or something, like maybe put some pineapple on there. But if you're ordering like some good,
100%.
good handmade, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like put some love was put into that pizza. Don't put pineapple on it.
I'll tell you right now. I've been to Italy. Best pizza I've ever had. I will put pineapple all over my Domino's because I know what I'm eating, and I know that it just needs to taste good enough for me to swallow. That's it.
Exactly. That's what I just said. You just agreed with me.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Now you're best
We're
friends
good.
again.
We're on the
It's
same
okay.
page.
So, Derek, I got to ask you, bringing you back to a happy place, Santa Clara, California. You spent a ton of time in the backfield of the Carolina Panthers that day, and I wanted to ask you about Cam Newton's chatter throughout the game, how it evolved, what it was like, and can you remember what you were thinking that moment where, and we saw it in our intro, he did not dive for that fumble right in front of you in the quarter.
Yeah. Well, I saw D Ware going for it, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to dive on my own teammate. He's got it. But when I saw Cam just standing there, I was like, I can't. He's done. He quit. He's given up because he whined the whole game. He's a prima donna. He was just whining the whole game,
100%.
bitching and moaning the whole time, crying to the refs about how hard he was getting hit. I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't have been doing all that dancing and Superman shit all year. You wouldn't be getting punished. You wouldn't be getting punished by Daddy right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So I want to follow up on that, obviously, with the entire year. And this isn't obviously a very softball question to say, is the Broncos of the 2015 year the best defense of all time? It's not so much that question. That's a softball question that everybody in this room knows. The answer is yes. I want to know what made that unit of 2015 the best defense of all time.
Man, I think it started with Wade Phillips. It starts with Wade Phillips, and I would say the coaching staff that we had, we fed off of their energy. We had from top down, from Kubiak all the way down to Joe D as our special teams coach. Everybody had the same attitude, and it was like we weren't going to be touched. Nobody was going to touch us. It didn't matter what happened. We were going to finish. We were going to finish a game. We're going to find a way to win no matter what. And as a defense, we knew that we had to be a tight group, right? We built that tightness over the years because that defense is built over 4 years. It didn't take. It wasn't overnight.
Yep.
We had a really good defense with Jack Del Rio, but then we added some more pieces to that. TJ Ward and Aqib Talib, Darian Stewart. We just kept adding guys. Guys that just were. Then we added D Ware, and it just took us to a whole nother level of just the leadership that I think D Ware was the dad of the group, kind of. He was the voice of reason behind all these savages out there that just were. We had a bunch of savages out there, but we played collectively, and it was all for one goal. It wasn't about individual goals. It was all about, hey, if we win a Super Bowl, everybody's going to get paid. So let's just go win a Super Bowl. Let's just go make it happen. And we wouldn't be denying. That was our attitude. It was that Defu attitude.
Speaking of Defu, can you tell us a little bit more about the origins of how that got started?
Yeah, so that started in Ohio. A couple buddies from Ohio, from Steubenville, Ohio, actually. They used to say that all the time. And then we would take it. We said it in college at Cincinnati. Me and the Kelsey brothers. We all lived together, so we used to say it all the time. And then, for some reason, I just started breaking the huddles down like that. It just came out of nowhere. I was like, that was just the attitude, man. No, don't ever fuck with us. Nobody, we are not going to be fucked with. It's just going to be whenever that next team is about to play us and they look at us on film, they're going to be like, shit, we got to play these guys. Look at these guys, man. They are running around. They're everybody to the ball, all 11 guys at the ball every time. And the running backs and quarterbacks are going to be punished. It was a different time in football, right? It's soft now. 2015 was really the last year that they let us just hammer quarterbacks and land on them and stuff. That's how I was raised up. That's how I was taught to play football. When you get to the quarterback, put your weight on him, make him feel you.
100%. Do you feel like that kind of drove the bus a bit for the 2005 or the defense that was in Denver? Do you think that kind of give it a little amperage to it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we go from Gary Kubiak, gets one season at the Super Bowl, then he goes ahead and retires, and they bring in Vance Joseph. And I know that I was watching an interview you had earlier where you were talking about how Vance Joseph really didn't have much control. It was more the front office. Were you guys excited about Vance Joseph? Because I know there was a big debate on Kyle Shanahan versus Vance Joseph. So was it an excitement for Vance Joseph, or did you guys want someone else?
Well, here's the thing. We thought we didn't even know Vance was in the talks, right? We didn't know anything about Vance really, but we knew about Kyle Shanahan. You know what I mean? So yeah, we were like kind of as players, guys that had signed extensions and stuff. They were like, man, I hope we get Shanahan in here because he's, he knows how to win. And I hope we don't bring some new head coach in that doesn't really know what he's doing. Yeah. And that wasn't Vance. Vance didn't know. It wasn't that Vance didn't know what he was doing. It was that Vance had, like I said, he had no control. So he didn't get to really run and operate a team the way he wanted to run and operate it, and Vance wanted it to be player driven. He wanted a player led football team. And that's what the most successful teams are player led. Now, he wouldn't let it happen. He couldn't let it happen really, because there was no control there. But yeah, we definitely were looking forward to maybe like a Kyle Shanahan coming in, and obviously that didn't happen. That didn't happen. They brought in Vance, and we were like, all right, sweet, and we liked him right away. We responded well as a team to him. We all liked him. We all liked playing for him. He got us fired up. But then things started happening where it was like, hey, we're making suggestions as players. Because we started off 4-0.
Yeah.
I mean, we started off 4-0. We were playing good football, and then things were kind of. But when you win 4 games straight, things get swept under the rug, I guess is what you'd say. And you trip over it later if you keep doing that, right? So we were like, hey, we were trying to nip some things in the bud. And guys were starting to. We had Gary Kubiak who took care of us as players, right? Like he rested us and made sure we were ready to go on the weekend. Right, we're not worried about Wednesday. Let's be ready to go on the weekend. Yeah, let's get mental reps in if we have to. No big deal. But after the bye, I think we who did we lose to after the bye? We had a week 5 bye. We won 4 straight, and then we lost after the bye. And John Elway was saying we got soft during the bye. I'm like, oh yeah, in 1 week we got soft.
Yeah,
But that was how John thought. I think John always thought we were soft because after that year we went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Seahawks. They gave us a beat down in the preseason, and he came in there and told the whole team they were soft.
Yep.
So I think John just like he comes from a different era, man, where guys, he played with 2 torn ACLs. So like guys aren't doing that anymore. We have MRI machines and everything, and it's showing you what's actually going on in your body. So I think what happened was that I think John just was like, look, I got to take control. I know what's best. He thought he knew what was best for the team, and understandably so. He put together a Super Bowl championship team.
Yep.
If you take his record, if you take his pedigree as a GM, I mean, any GM would take that, right?
Yeah.
You got two Super Bowls, number one in the AFC West 4 years in a row.
Yep.
I think 2 AFC championships and a Super Bowl ring. I think anybody in an 8-year span, I think anybody would take that.
Yeah. So I had Broncos Breakdown ask what the reason for the larger eye black was. Just intimidation, or was there a specific reflection reason why you had that much on?
Well, first I have blue. My eyes are blue, so they're like super sensitive to light.
Yeah.
So like the light, it just gives me like a bad headache if the light's too bright. So like those day games, I did it and started doing it in college where I just would throw it on, and then it just like it started as a strip, and then I was like, it kind of looks cool when you come down here. So I just kept doing it because all you could see is this black face and this dark face with blue eyes popping out of the face mask, and I just thought that looked cool. So yeah, it was part intimidation. And I would just stand there at the line of scrimmage and stare at the offensive lineman, just stare at them.
Well, and I was going to say, as being a hunter, you're in your element at that point, putting all the eye black on.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things to do is get in the woods and throw some face paint on.
That's right.
It's my war paint.
I know. I'm super excited for your movie where Jason Momoa plays you. So
good one. Ooh, that's a good one.
What's funny is I get some people ask me sometimes, "Are you Jason Momoa?" And I'm like, "I'm not even Samoan, man. Like that's crazy."
Do you ever just respond with a yeah? Do you ever just respond with a flat? Yeah, I am.
No, because it was funny because when I didn't have a beard and I just had like the slick back hair and my dreads, I didn't have the dreads and the beard yet. I was working on them. I was still hitting puberty, so I was still working on that beard. People would ask me if I was Kevin from Shameless all the time. It happened all the time, and I was like, "That's hilarious." I don't know, maybe I need to do some acting.
Yeah.
So Derek, not many stars get to retire Most of them, when they retire, they're at a press conference behind a podium, but you got to share the moment with thousands of your fans. And I wanted to ask about the behind the scenes. Like, how does that get set up? When you sign a 1-day contract, when you retire a Bronco, how do you coordinate that with the team? And what was the most meaningful message you received that day?
So this is going to sound crazy. So this all started in 2020, after the 2020 season. I hadn't signed back with the Ravens yet, and I was thinking about calling it just because I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. And I was at the Park Meadows Mall, and Patrick Smythe is walking through the mall, and I see him, and he yells my name. I'm like, "Oh, what's up, Pat?" I go up, give him a big hug, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "You think the Broncos will?" I didn't even think it was like, I don't know how this stuff works, right? Like, yeah. My whole time there, I never seen somebody like come and sign a 1-day deal and retire a Bronco. I just didn't see it. So I was like, "Hey, you think the Broncos would retire me?" And he was like, "Oh, absolutely." And I was like, "Seriously?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll do it right too." And I was like, "All right, sick, let's go." And I was like, "I'll let you know when that time comes." So like when that time came, I called him, and he was like, "Yep, let's make it happen." And the rest is history, man. He just, I think the best moment was walking. I haven't like shed tears over this at all, but now that I have daughters and stuff, I've become a little more emotional. But when I was walking, when I was walking my 3-year-old, and she was in my arms, and it was hot as hell that day too. And we were walking in front of the fans, and they were all standing up and cheering. And my daughter looks over and goes, "Dad, are those your friends?" And like, I don't know, something about that just like, it just made me cry. I just started tearing up a little bit because it was like, that was such a special moment that she got to experience with me.
That's so cool.
So I would say that was like the most meaningful moment.
It was just sweat. It was so hot.
Oh no, my eyes were red. I was holding them back. It was tough.
It's a sun in the blue eyes.
Yeah.
It was happy tears though, man. It was nothing sad about it.
That's so cool, man. Couldn't ask for a better ending. No,
absolutely. I want to circle back, obviously, to something that Mike had mentioned about, the era of, Kubiak to Vance Joseph, and, a lot of people within Broncos country, and, they talk about kind of the tumultuous years a little bit, the performance and stuff like that, or maybe even this idea of a cultural shift. Did you see in the span of once you were there for Super Bowl 50 to when you left the Broncos that there was a trend of a cultural shift there within the Broncos?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, man, if anybody that's had a job where they're not the head boss, they know the shit rolls downhill. And when there's problem and when there's issues going on with ownership, it's going to trickle down. And I think that's what was really going on, was that there was a lot of issues with ownership. And, I would say the number one issue was we didn't have a quarterback. We had a quarterback, but we didn't have a quarterback. We didn't have the guy. And that's in this league. If you want to win a championship, you have to have a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback at least.
Right.
Speaking of quarterback, turns out we got one, and he's pretty darn good.
I'd say.
Yeah. First of all, are you going to be at the first game? Secondly, I kind of want to know, especially in this new era, with these first teamers not playing in the preseason games, what's your thoughts on that?
I love it.
Yeah.
And I would have loved it as a player too. Yeah. It's just an unnecessary. It's just if you know who's starting, if you know they're going to be the starter, you don't need to play them. If you got that those preseason games now, especially with the way the CBA has tied everything up with as far as cuts go and all that stuff, where you got to have when you have to have that 53-man roster ready. I think it's really important for those young guys to go out there and get reps so you can figure out your depth. You have to figure out your depth chart, because depth is important in this league. Who is the backup guy? Who is the guy coming in for me? I just always, as a player, even I had to know that I could trust the guy that was going to come in there for me.
Yeah.
Like that it wasn't going to be a huge drop off, that he wasn't going to get blown off the ball. And, and that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the defensive line get blown off the ball, and they're just running it down their throat. That is a depth issue. That means they have to fix it. They got to fix that depth issue. They got to find different guys, or else it's going to be a long season for those guys up front.
Yeah.
100%. And are you going to be at the game, the first game, Seahawks Broncos?
I'll be at the game on the 25th.
Okay, fine. I was going to say we're tailgating out there, man. Should have came to tailgate.
Listen, I'll be chasing mule deer, brother.
Oh, okay. Well,
Priorities, Boggins. Priorities.
with pineapple?
No,
No pineapple. Okay, fine. Well, you never know.
Pineapple. You're not allowed to bait. You're not allowed to bait here in Colorado.
With Dole.
So I was
Smart deer.
doing a lot of research when we found out you were coming on, and I happened to run across that interview where you said you were going to eat Philip Rivers' kids, which I thought was hilarious. So my question is,
Some good eating.
when you go out to a restaurant, say like in San Diego, and you ask for a kids menu, do you get like weird looks?
What a
what's
detail.
funny is everybody thinks that I said that to Tom Brady because of TJ. Because TJ Ward goes on, I forget what he was on ESPN. I forget what show it was, but he goes on there and says that I told Tom Brady that. So I dealt with so much hate from New England fans, which they already didn't like me because I was pretty vocal about my dislike for them.
Yeah.
You know, so it was pretty funny. It's still funny. People still ask me, like, did you really tell Tom Brady that? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, it was Philip Rivers. And they're like, oh, Jesus.
Oh.
You really did say that. Like, isn't he like a devout Catholic?
With 75 kids?
You're like, I wouldn't say that about Brady. He's only got 3. Yeah.
The funny part about that is all he said to me was, stop crying, you crybaby. That's all he said to me. And I lost my mind.
I feel like Philip Rivers is like the nicest shit talker to ever exist, probably on the field.
Well, you think it's nice just because he's not cursing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So
which
did he
makes
ever
it-
address
which makes
that
it
part?
worse?
Yeah.
Did
Did he ever
Philip
address the
Rivers-
kid comment with you?
Who, Philip Rivers?
Yeah.
No. When we were I played against him when he was with the Colts in 2020 when I was in Baltimore. And the more mature me, father, husband to me, tried to say hi to him and he was like, oh, I don't know. He was just being really weird. I'm telling you, ever since I said that to him, he never said a word to me ever. It didn't matter what happened, he never said anything.
Well, you had a napkin tucked in your the front of your shirt, which
I almost feel like the insults are worse when you're using proper English and not slang. Yeah. You're like, oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Holy mackerel.
So we got Jason Thomas. Jason Thomas is one of our friends from Raiders Nation, or whatever they call it, the Roomba Stadium, whatever. He knows you called him Grimy Raiders, but in offensive lines of the Raiders, who was the toughest one to get past?
I'll tell you, Trent Brown. Big Trent was just when he was healthy and rolling. I mean, that dude was a giant, 400-pound 6'9"er, and he was a tough offensive lineman to play against for sure. Let me think.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it
I'm
would
not
be
giving the
more.
Raiders any credit.
Too much
Where
time.
do you go from
Too
there?
much time. Yeah.
Kalechi was good.
Yeah.
Osemele, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Kalechi was good. He was a good offensive lineman, especially when he was like in the young. We went to the Senior Bowl together and played and practiced against each other a bunch. So we've been friends for a decade now. So he was a really good offensive lineman. But I think Trent was just like, man, that dude was just tough to play against.
So, Derek, after your very scary spinal cord injury and then the subsequent seizure, there seemed to be a real possibility that you may not come back. And I'm talking about from a fan standpoint. I'm sure you believe that you were going to be back all the way. But what memories stick out for you the most from that first game upon your return?
I don't even remember it, really, because I don't know. That's just life, right? Like my life has been so wild and had to deal with so much adversity in my life that it was just another bump in the road, man. That was hell. Going through that was hell, man. It was, people don't realize what they think. It was just these 2 injuries. They don't realize that I was, after the original injury, I was having hallucinations. I was having these crazy, I would wake up in the middle of the night and just be paralyzed laying there. Like I couldn't move. seeing like dark figures standing in the corner of my house, and like I'd come around a corner and think I saw somebody, and there was nobody, and I was really paranoid. And it was super sketchy. But I was still playing good football, so I just kept playing. And that's like the curse of football, right? Like if you're playing good as a football, like my whole life has just been, as long as I'm playing good football, everything's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what else is going on. As long as I'm playing good and my job is going good. And even from 7 years on, like everything I did was to make sure that football was like, I went to school just so I could be eligible. I didn't care about class. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I just was focused on football because it was my only way out.
Yeah.
You know, it was either that or the military or prison.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't have a lot of options. So I just was like, you know, when I came out of a seizure, the nurses thought something was wrong with me because I was just goofing around and laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started hearing the stories about what actually happened during that seizure. They said they kept trying to stick me with tranquilizers, and I was just getting more pissed off. And then I broke an ICU bed. They had me strapped to the bed because I was like ripping the IVs out of my arm.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of this, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it. It was like being blacked out drunk, you know, and you wake up and you're like, oh, I need that.
Yeah. It would have been nicer for the nurses if you would have taken off the eye paint first, though, while you're freaking out.
Well, I did. I was here's the thing. When I had that seizure, I was in a 3-piece suit.
Oh, okay.
We were on our way to the airport to play Kansas City.
Jeez.
We had just pulled up to the airport to like go in through the security check, and I just like blacked out. And then I woke up and they were shoving their thumb into my sternum, and then I passed back out. And then the next thing I know, I remember waking up at one point in the hospital and trying to rip the breathing tube out of my throat.
Wow.
And then I remember that. Like I remember being like, "What the hell is this?" and tried to grab it and pulled on it, and it like ripped into my throat, and it hurt so bad. And then I fell back asleep. But when I woke up, I was tied. I'm telling you, I had these boxing gloves over my hands, like these like wraps over my hands.
Yeah.
And my fists were closed shut, and I was strapped to the bed. And I was like, "What?" And I had like wires coming off of my head everywhere. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah, like
and
a character in
around and making jokes with the nurses, and they were like, "What kind of psycho?"
Yeah.
When you're dealing with that, what was the turning point for your recovery?
I'll tell you what really helped me was yoga. I started doing a lot of yoga. I don't really do it much anymore, but yoga was what like helped me reconnect my brain and my body and those pathways. Because what the problem was that I had a bruise at C1, like right at the base of my brainstem. So fresh blood wasn't getting to my brain. Wow. You know, when that seizure happened, my heart rate went down to like 16 beats a minute. I was like slowly going into cardiac arrest. My body was shutting down. So when I didn't really realize how serious I thought I was when it was happening, I was like, man, I must be really dehydrated. I feel like I'm going to go into a full body cramp because I was sweating profusely. Like I was sweating through my suit. I was like, what is going on? And the next thing you know, it was like, oh. And so they were like, what kind of drugs is this guy on? You know, what's going like, they asked me all these questions that when I woke up about like, if I had taken any drugs, like, no, I didn't take anything. I was like, I was just on the bus and started feeling kind of woozy. And next thing I know, I'm here.
How does the team even get on the plane after that?
I know they were all. It was funny because every year after that, we would get to that spot. We all sat in the same spots, right? So it's like Vaughn and Akib and those guys. And Vaughn would always be like, "It was at this point we knew." He would always say something about it. He was like, "It was right here where Wolf almost died."
Jeez.
So following up on the yoga thing, was it goat yoga? Like, did you get the goat?
No, it wasn't goat yoga. It was just it was a lot of grounding. The grounding thing. We started grounding, and then we did a lot of meditations. And like we went into these meditations where I could feel the blood just like flowing through there again. Finally, and it was like this crazy feeling. We started doing a lot of inversions, like upside down stuff, headstands and handstands and stuff like that really like helped me reconnect. And I came back and played every game that next season. I was 248 pounds when I got out of the hospital, and I got back up to 300.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's crazy. Now that you kind of stepped away from football, let's kind of maybe go into maybe like a DeLorean, like into the future. Like if you were to be a defensive line coach, and this is actually like a two-parter of a question, but if you were a defensive line coach, and there was one thing that you would tell your players to get them to the next level, what would that be? And actually, with Baron Browning, this is kind of like fitting with Baron Browning going in his switch to pass rusher, right? So for instance, if there was one thing that you were going to tell your players, what would that be? And then where are you with Baron Browning? And because it certainly seemed like you said he was going to be a star with what we had seen in that Dallas game.
Well, I mean, saying somebody's going to be a star before they play in a real game against real starters, right, is something. But he has the potential to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So to me, what I would tell somebody is, look, don't be just a one-dimensional player. Don't be just that guy that plays the run well. Be that guy that can rush the passer and plays the run. Be a 3-down player and run to the ball no matter what. Because you can get dogged on a play, get up and run to the ball and cause a fumble. That's the best. That's why I love defense so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you get to the ball, everything's made right. Doesn't matter what happened before then.
Yeah.
So now that your career has kind of come to an end, what is next for?
What do you mean,
you never know. I've seen Michael Jordan.
I promise you, there's no chance I'm stepping back on a football field to play.
Not even coaching.
No, I'm not
flag
coaching.
football.
You know what kind of hours those guys put in?
Okay, all right, fine. Well, my question was going to be, what's next for Derek Wolfe?
Well, what's next is there's mule deer and elk that need to be hunted.
Okay.
In September. I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna do lots of. I'm gonna join a radio station here. We'll figure out what that's gonna look like.
Cool.
Here in October, I'm gonna start in October probably, but we'll see where I head with that. I'm working on some deals now, trying to figure things out, make it optimize it for me because I just retired, man. I don't want to have to
go back.
I want to do something I like doing. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. That's why I played football because I hate working jobs I don't like doing.
Yep.
That's why I was like, I'm just going to play football. And teachers were like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see, bud. So that's the thing. I just want to do things that I like to do, man. Like I said, I got a hunting show that I'm working on right now.
Nice.
That's going to, hopefully next fall is when we really start filming the series because we want to do a mainstream show. We don't want it to be these boring hunting show. You know what I mean? Like I already talked to D Ware. He was like, I'm down. Let's do it.
Sick.
So he wants to come do an episode with me. I got some country stars that want to come do an episodes with me.
Nice.
I'll probably bring on some Vaughn Hunts. I'll bring, Vaughn will definitely be doing an episode, but he has to be retired because it's during the fall. But we could probably do like an off-season hunt, like a bear hunt or something. He'd be down to do that. So we'll figure something. We'll figure something out. And same with fly fishing. I love the fly fish too. So we'll do that. And I'm like I said, I'm building a podcasting station down here in my room. Or down in my basement, so like my room, like I'm a teenager, like I got this. Like I'm in here playing Call of Duty and podcast.
I almost feel like you need to get on like Valhalla or like the House of Dragons TV shows and just have a guest like you're the new Mountain or something for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, make the call.
or just hunt with axes.
I mean,
just chuck.
Wow.
Have you seen the new Predator movie called Predator?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You see how she throws that axe?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
You gonna tie a rope to the end of it so you can bring it back,
throw it at rabbits and stuff.
You know damn well you're about to go out in the woods and do that.
I just make things up out there, right? I just rub mud all over me because I think I think the deer and the elk can sense my heat.
Like who's that? Who are those two fighters just fought recently? And the guy was like rubbing the blood all over his face. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that's you, man.
I mean, gross, but yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
So you want me to rub blood all over my face?
I'm not saying I want you to. I was just trying to picture your future. That's it.
I'm not sure where to go with that.
Go from here.
Well, it was great having you on the show.
Derek, do you mind if I ask one more question? I know we've kept you a little longer than you said.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You had. I wanted to ask what parallels you're seeing to Russell's leadership and impact to what you saw with experiencing as a teammate of Peyton Manning.
It's a little bit different, right? Because they just said I read something the other day that he's got his own office.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of that.
Yep.
That concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. because why does he need his own office? Like you're too good to be around the rest of the team, you know? But I know Russ, and I know Russ. Like I went through the combine with Russ too, so I got to know him back then and played against him a bunch. And, you know, he's a serious guy. If he's doing that, there's a reason for it. There's a logical reason for it. It's not because he wants to separate from the team or be separate from the team. It's because he's going to be there a little bit longer than everybody else. And he wants his own space to work, and I get that, and that's why. I'm just being a talking head right now and trying to create some drama.
You're practicing.
You heard it here first.
Russell Wilson doesn't like his teammates.
Right. First source.
He'll call me and be like, "What the hell, man? Why'd you say that?"
Well, like one of the interviews I heard you on, they asked about Lamar Jackson and if he did actually go to the bathroom during that game. You're like, oh yeah, so you're just a drama starter everywhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, it was clear as day that he's going to take a poop, right? Like,
like he was gone forever though.
Well, what do you? I don't know about you, but I don't have a trap door down there where I just pull the trap door. I'm good to go.
Plus, they had a magazine selection that was amazing.
Yeah, who knows what he was reading?
He was holding out.
Could have found a good article in there.
Brad Smith says that you make a very respectable Aquaman.
Respectable Aquaman.
Respectable.
I think like stunt double is in your future. Like Aquaman stunt double.
I would hit Jason Momoa with the meanest Stone Cold Stunner ever.
Whoa. Okay.
So set that up.
All right.
We'll have a fight to the death for the Aquaman
pay-per-view fight.
Do it.
A real celebrity death match.
Right.
Okay.
I almost feel like there needs to be like a Wolf versus Rivers like YouTube boxing match now.
A Wolf versus Rivers?
Yeah,
I mean, outside your
would,
damn mind.
I would uppercut him through the stratosphere.
Maybe. I mean, we could go with the theme and have an eating contest, and we'll see how that goes.
An eating contest.
You would sacrifice a man with a foster home full of kids. Like
they're taken care of. They're fine.
He has a village to feed.
This is like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
Well, let's just take it to the Colosseum. They can fight to the death.
Figure it
out. Colosseum's full of his kids.
Just 20 kids.
Yeah.
I'm just more trying to figure out how.
I
was gonna say I was trying to figure out how it went from Phillip Rivers Jason Momoa to Phillip Rivers with the fight. I mean, like,
yeah.
They're not exactly comparable.
That's not a fair fight.
No.
No. Never said it was.
He's a quarterback.
He just wants blood, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he just wants to see someone die.
It goes back to the blood on the face. That's what
he wants me to kill Phillip Rivers and rub his blood.
What a great thumbnail. Derek Wolfe kills Phillip Rivers.
I feel like we're like right on the verge of getting in some serious like trouble for YouTube here.
This is live. Come on, guys. Have some class.
I feel like we should put like the quotation marks around everything we just said.
Yeah.
Take it so far out of context, it's gonna be bad.
I was gonna say, there's your news starter right there.
Yeah.
There's some clickbait for you.
Yeah,
Threatens Phillip Rivers. He's gonna show up.
Right. That's what gets us to getting a sponsor.
Who's the sponsor? Tampax? You guys are sick. You're sickos.
Oh man! All right, well there goes our Disney Channel option.
They're a bunch of pedos anyways.
If we don't have a Tampax like sponsorship in the next month, I'm gonna be upset.
Yep.
We can edit that out. It's live, Brad. There's no editing.
It'll always be there.
You can't reverse live. I've tried.
Yeah.
You can't reverse it. You can't go back.
No takebacks.
Tampax Pearl.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Derek Wolfe. And just with blood all over my face.
How do we even
Defu.
segue into anything?
Yeah, a good Defu sponsor.
Run out of face wipes. Here's some Tampax.
Okay.
Oh, toxic masculinity.
Okay, did anybody else have a serious question?
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Boggins.
what?
All right, I'll ask. Wade Phillips, you mentioned him as a great coach. What is your favorite son of bum story that you get that's your go-to?
I mean, probably us winning a Super Bowl and him running around the locker room with gold chains all around his neck. That was just like, just thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gold chains around his neck, running around. It was hilarious. Oh man! I mean, Wade was so cool, man. Every day he would come in there and he would have numbers to show us like how well we were doing. Right? He would be like, "Look, these are the numbers of the greatest of all time. You guys want to be the best of all time?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, well, let's make it happen then." And that was the theme, man. We're gonna be the best ever.
Yeah,
and we were.
Yeah, you were.
And if you
Why
don't
is he
think so,
not in
then
the
fuck
NFL?
off.
Yeah.
Why is he not in the NFL?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. I do not get it.
Yeah.
It really makes no sense to me.
Was he ever in the running for the Broncos head coach spot after Kubiak left?
I don't think he wanted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't. He already did the head coaching thing down in Dallas. I don't think he liked it.
Yeah.
He wants to
He was
coach
also a coach
defense.
in Denver too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he was a head coach for Denver. That's right.
Yeah.
Buffalo too. I think.
Yep. Oh.
I just don't think he wanted that. I think he tried it, didn't like it. He'd rather be a D coordinator. And that's where Vic Fangio should have stayed too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Rex Ryan's the same way. You get these coaches that should have stayed as a defensive coordinator, and they go to be a head coach, and there's maybe a little bit too much responsibility.
Well, it's the money. They're chasing the money when they go do that. You know.
Yeah.
The money you get paid a lot more being a head coach.
Don't
So
blame
you
them
get that.
looking for a raise like that.
Yeah, but I mean, what's
Yeah.
better, raise or legacy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You want your legacy to be there.
Mhm.
And that's why, I mean, to me, I played for some good defensive coordinators. You know, Wink Martindale was another great defensive coordinator
Oh, yeah.
I played for
That's
in
right.
Baltimore.
Yep.
Jack Del Rio, great defensive coordinator. But Wade Phillips was just next level.
Yeah.
And Vic Fangio, great defense coordinator. Honestly,
Mhm.
like his defense, I love playing in his defense. Loved it. I made a
Yeah.
ton of plays. I was having the best season of my career in 2019.
That's right.
You know, I was playing great football, and I loved it. I hated playing for him,
Yeah.
but I loved his defensive scheme. And it's not that I don't like him as a person. I don't know. I don't really like him as a person either. Whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care if anybody knows that I didn't like him. We don't think we liked each other. He seemed to have an issue with me from day one, which was weird. Never had a coach act like that with me. But I mean, when you start a press conference, your first press conference as head coach, and you tell the Super Bowl MVP that he could get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not off
Yeah.
to a good start.
Poking the
no.
bear.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. He just had a hard time connecting with us as players, but that was the one thing that Wade could do. He could connect with us as players.
Mhm.
He knew how to connect with us, and he knew how to put you in position to be the best you could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like for example, if I played that defensive end four technique, 3 technique position, right? So
Mhm.
if I was in a 4 technique or a 3 technique, and I had an offset running back to my side, he told me to play a 4-eye. I said okay. Made a shit pot full of plays doing that in the backfield because it just it makes it harder for the tackle to get to you, and if you're in a 4-eye, the guard can't help.
Yeah.
So that guy's already at a disadvantage. And as soon as I see flow going the opposite way, I just go straight to the backfield and make the play.
Yeah.
And I told Vic Fangio that, and he told me not to speak up in defensive meetings anymore. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Jiminy Christmas, dude.
Yeah, it was bad.
Got a little bit of an ego there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely some things going around with his ways of coaching that didn't really mesh well with the players at all. Was not a big players coach at all.
In the first team meeting, he said, "I don't believe in science. We're going to work." I was like, "What? What does that even mean?"
Baxter, you know I don't speak Spanish.
Just such a good movie. But that's how he was, man. He was kind of a prick, you know. Like he just He didn't really want you to. He didn't really like. He wanted the reason for your success to be because of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how it kind of seemed. It was like it's my scheme that put you in that position. Like Vaughn and I had 8 years of running pass rush games together, and there was 100 sacks in there. 100 sacks just on Vaughn's side.
Yeah,
you know, and only 6 of those I wasn't involved in. So you're going to tell, and then he tells us we can't run games anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, what is going on here? Like we're the best duo in the league, you know, of this decade, and you're telling us we can't do what we do. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
So that's why you've seen a lot of guys asking to be traded.
Mm-hmm. Pans out in the end.
Or injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek, what would Ring of Fame mean to you?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
The Ring of Fame is the reason. The Ring of Fame, the fans, everything. That's the reason why I stayed here in Denver. When I had an opportunity to go chase the money in 2015, I had the opportunity to do it. But I was like, no, it's about my legacy. I'm going to stay here. Because I want to be a staple here. I want my name to be up in that stadium. It was just like, because when you stand in that stadium and look at those names, you're like, man, that's what you dream of one day, is having your name in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have a chance.
You will,
it's not a for sure thing, but I think I have a chance to get in there.
Yep.
Hopefully, I'm still alive when it happens.
You just need 5 years, man. 5 years. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stay relevant for 5 more years, and then I can fuck off.
Stay relevant.
I'm telling you, man, that YouTube boxing, you'll be relevant right quick. And stay that way.
Should I just call out Jake Paul? Just drop.
Just
there you go.
Might as well.
That's how we do it.
It'll be fine.
Luck, I get knocked out there somehow. Definitely not getting in the.
He can't reach your face.
You have a hard time.
So I am.
Right.
Wow.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
So I'm not going to say this wasn't an interesting episode. I am so thankful you were able to take time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy, even though you're retired. I know you're busy, and I thank
I'm
you
busier
so
now
much.
than I was when I was playing. It's crazy.
Jeez.
Well, I thank you for giving us the time. Your boss upstairs, man. Remember, this is live. I can't delete it. Don't.
I'm not going to say anything I shouldn't say. Other than the Tampax sponsor.
Okay, so I'm not sure where to go from that again. But no. I am looking forward to everything that you're going to be doing in the future. When you get your podcast going, let us know. I definitely want to listen to it. When you get your TV out, your book out, let us know. We'll help you push it out there as best we can. We appreciate you joining us on the podcast. It was fantastic getting to talk to you.
Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
You could help. I'll tell you guys how you could help me. I need to find somebody to come over. So the guy that I had that was going to come do it, he's booked out till December.
Mm-hmm.
So I need somebody to come over here and take a look at the space and see what we need to do.
Cam, you're the only one that's close.
To set up a podcast. Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Like,
hey,
come over here, help me get the equipment, help me set it up.
Oh yeah.
If Cam walks in with a sleeping bag, you got to kick him out right away. Like,
I got a big couch down. There's a big couch you can sleep on down here, buddy.
There you go, Cam. I was gonna say I'm out in Nebraska, Glenn's out in New Hampshire, Bog is out in Washington. So Cam's the only one that's close.
Yeah.
You picked a day though, and I'll see if we can make it all work.
Yeah, man.
Not creepy at all.
Glenn, connect us. Send his number over to me or my number to him or something.
you got it. I can do that.
Yeah,
We'll make it
and
happen.
actually,
We'll tie it after the show if you don't mind too.
yeah.
Yeah, if
And
you
Cam,
want,
and Cam Altitude told me that if I don't come work for them, then the outdoor channel is closed. That door is closed to me.
No.
So you need to pull some
okay.
strings over there. Like, hey,
Okay.
I will. I'll see what I can do over there at work tomorrow.
Call Cronky right now.
go over there and crack some skulls.
Yeah.
There we go. Well,
Take a baseball
we'll just,
bat in there and just start breaking screens.
we're getting violent again.
We're getting
This one wasn't me.
Line in the NFL for 10 years. I blame anything I say that's not politically correct. I blame it on CT.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on, I'm trying to find the reverse button. Where's the reverse button? Hold on. All right. Well,
should have never gave this guy airtime.
you know what? I'm not even going to read any outro. We're just going to say bye. Thanks for joining us. Derek, hang out for a second, and we'll chat with you in a minute.
Show, is it?
Well, it was. It's not now. We'll hang out. We'll chat with you in a second. Bye,
right.
everybody.